On this day, Jesus calls us by name to ask us where we stand. Do we stand behind him as a distant and safe follower? Do we stand ahead of him as those who wish to show him a different way than the one he is trying to show us? Or do we stand beside him, to be with him? Today, Jesus calls us by name to ask where we stand.
Judas, betrayer of trust, where do you stand?
I am here.
Peter, son of denial, where do you stand?
I am here.
Mary, daughter of sorrow, where do you stand?
I am here.
John, son of love, where do you stand?
I am here.
Malchus, soldier of death, where do you stand?
I am here.
Lydia and Martha, daughters of mercy, where do you stand?
I am here.
I am here.
Pilate, inquisitor of truth, where do you stand?
I am here.
People of darkness, where do you stand?
I am here.
I am here.
I am here.
I am here.
When morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people conferred together against Jesus in order to bring about his death. They bound him, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor.
Have you seen Jesus, my Lord? He's here in plain view. Take a look, open your eyes. He'll show life to you. Have you ever looked at the sunset with the sky mellowing red and the clouds suspended like feathers? Then I say, sing Jesus, my Lord. Have you seen Jesus, my Lord? He's here in plain view. Take a look, open your eyes. He'll show life to you.
God of mystery and wonder, because we know the ending of the story, it's tempting for us to ignore the darkness of this day. It's tempting for us to go about our business as usual. It's tempting for us to fall asleep too early, to rush ahead to the morning light. But give us courage and strength to live for a while in the darkness, to set aside comfort and pleasure, to feel the darkness in which so many of your children dwell, the darkness into which your Son Jesus entered. For we trust that the whole world will be born anew, and that your kingdom is coming as a new heaven and a new earth, that out of darkness, only out of darkness, can light shine. On this day of darkness, we pray boldly for your will to be done. Amen.
long as I remember, I've been walking through the wilderness, praying to the Father and waiting for my time. I've come here with a mission, and soon I'll give my life for this world. I'm praying in the garden, and I'm looking for a miracle. I find the journey hard, but it's the reason I was born. Can this cup be passed on? Lord, I pray your will be done in this world. So I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame to the end of the road, through the struggles and pain, and I'll do it for love. No, it won't be in vain. Yes, I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame. I feel like I'm alone here, and I'm treated like a criminal. The time has come for me now, even though I've done no wrong. Father, please forgive them. They know not what they've done in this world. So I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame to the end of the road, through the struggles and pain, and I'll do it for love. No, it won't be in vain. Yes, I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame.
And then the man they called Judas Iscariot went to the chief priests, and he asked them, "What would you give me if I betray him to you?" And they gave him 30 pieces of silver. So from that moment, he began to look out for an opportunity to betray him. 3 more days and I'll be coming back again. 3 more days and I'll be coming back again.
So I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame to the end of the road, through the struggles and the pain, and I'll do it for love. No, it won't be in vain. Yes, I'll carry my cross, and I'll carry the shame. Yes, I'll carry my cross, and I carry the shame.
I heard today's the day. Can I just tell you how many other days there have been before this one? And I've been there for every single one.
So have I. There was the day I heard him speak in the temple. He couldn't have been more than 12 years old then. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me." There was the day he healed the 10 lepers. 10 lepers! Skin peeling off, their faces didn't even look human anymore. No one would touch them. He touched all 10 of them. Told them, "Go show yourself to the priest," like any priest would want to see them. And before they even got to where they were going, their skin was made perfect again. I remember, only one came back to thank him.
There was also the day he fed 5,000 people with just a couple loaves of bread and a few fish. No one said it could be done, but he told everyone, "Take a piece and pass it on to the next person. Be grateful. Be generous." That was his real miracle, I believe. He showed us how to be more human, more alive.
And I was there the day he made the blind man see again. Some people called it a magic trick, a total lie. Just a made-up story. They said, this guy must be someone else. They said, the real blind man must still be out there somewhere. But Jesus said, as long as I'm in the world, we will see, for I am the light of the world.
But I heard today is the day that he got arrested last night in the garden. They have him tied up over in the high priest's court now.
They've charged him with treason, for being too much like God, for doing things only God can do. But if being kind and compassionate, merciful and forgiving is something only God can do, then we're all in trouble. Anyway, we heard it's bad, that all the disciples have deserted him and he's going to be killed.
But how do you kill the light of the world?
While Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came by. When she saw Peter warming himself, she stared at him and said, "You also were with Jesus, the man from Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I do not know or understand who you are talking about." And he went out into the forecourt. Then the rooster crowed. And the servant girl, on seeing him, began again to say to the bystanders, This man, he's one of them." But again he denied it. Then after a little while, the bystanders again said to Peter, "Certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean." But he began to curse, and he swore an oath, "I do not know this man you are talking about." At that moment, the rooster crowed for the second time. Then Peter remembered that Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And he broke down and wept.
Have you ever stood at the ocean with the white foam at your feet? From the endless thundering motion, then I say, "See Jesus, my Lord." Have you seen Jesus, my Lord? He's here in plain view. Take a look, open your eyes. He'll show light to you.
I've always hated those Galileans. Rough lot from up north.
I agree. They don't dress well, and they smell like they're sheep. Ought to stay in their own territory.
I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who thinks so. Did you hear about the one from Nazareth? Nazareth. I ask you, anything good ever come out of there? You could tell by his accent. I think his name was Jesus? I'll tell you, even his temple traders talk nicer than him. It was trouble from the moment he appeared. He came in looking like he was looking for trouble.
We've been temple traders our whole life. Our father was a temple trader before us. We've worked hard to build a reputation as people who know how to get the best animals. Sure, our goats might be a bit pricey, but they don't have a spot on them. And besides, we've got a right to make a living, don't we?
So there I was, looking forward to having a profitable day, when what was his name again?
Jesus.
Right, Jesus. When Jesus strides in with a whip in his hand, looked more like a weapon to me, and he starts throwing that thing at the cattle and my sheep. Can you imagine the chaos? The bleeding, the bellowing, the mess? Terrified animals were everywhere. He just kept throwing that whip around. He flipped over my table on me too. All my money, it got mixed up with sheep blood. And then, above all the racket, with the strange accent of his, he yelled, "You have dared to make my father's house a den of robbers? Who, me? A robber?"
Who, me? A robber? He was the crazy one. We lost 4 beautiful goats that day. It will take us weeks to get that money back. Just thinking about it makes me furious. I'll be there today to see him get what he deserves. Crucify him, I say.
Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. And the soldiers wove a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and dressed him in a purple robe. They kept coming up to him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews," and striking him on the face. Pilate went out to them again and said, "Look, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no case against him." So Jesus came out wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe. Pilate said to them, "Here's the man." When the chief priests and the police saw him, they shouted, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and crucify him. I find no case against him." The Jews answered him, "We have a law, and according to that law he ought to die because he has claimed to be the Son of God."
Now, when Pilate heard this, he was more afraid than ever. He entered his headquarters again and asked them, "Where are you from?" But Jesus gave him no answer. Pilate therefore said to him, "Do you refuse to speak to me? Do you not know that I have the power to release you and power to crucify you?" Jesus answered him, "You have no power over me unless it had been given to you from above. Therefore, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin." From then on, Pilate tried to release him, but the Jews cried out, "If you release this man, you are no friend of the emperor. Anyone who claims to be a king sets himself against the emperor."
When Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus outside and sat on the judge's bench at a place called the Stone Pavement, or in Hebrew, Gabbatha.
Now it was a day of preparation for the Passover, and it was about noon. He said to the Jews, "Here is your king." They cried out, "Away with him! Away with him! Crucify him!" Pilate asked them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but the emperor."
Then he handed him over to them to be crucified.
Did you hear that? "We have no king but the emperor," they said. But what do they know? What do I know? What do any of us know about loyalty, about allegiance, about pledging our lives? Did you hear that rooster crow just a moment ago? It went cock-a-doodle-doo 2 times. It's such a unique sound. When you hear that sound, you know exactly what it is. Only a rooster can make a sound like that. But what's a rooster doing awake at night? Usually, the rooster comes up with the sun, telling us that it's time to get going. It's a brand new day. And if you don't get up, well, that rooster will just keep on sounding off. The rooster won't let you deny the light. But it's the middle of the night. What's the rooster doing awake now? What do we have to get up and go do now that is so important it can't wait until the morning? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm awake. I might as well head into town and see what's going on there. I hear there's going to be a crucifixion today. 2 thieves and that teacher, Jesus. The 2 thieves are being killed for a crime they committed together. I guess Jesus didn't have anyone who was willing to die for the things he was willing to die for. So they're going to let him die between the 2 thieves. Oh look, I can see the sun coming up just over the hills. Funny, I don't hear any roosters though.
So they took Jesus, and carrying the cross by himself, he went out to what is called the place of the skull, which in Hebrew is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with 2 others, one on each side, with Jesus between them. One of the criminals who were hanged there kept mocking him, saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of death? And we indeed have been accused justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise."
I am a thief, I am a murderer, walking up this lonely hill. What have I done I don't remember. No one knows just how I feel. And I know that my time is coming soon. It's been so long, oh, such a long time, since I've lived with peace and rest. Now I am here, my destination. I guess things work for the best. And I know that my time is coming soon. Who is this man beside me, that they call the King of the Jews? Well, they don't believe that he's the Messiah, but somehow I know that it's true. Well, they laugh at him in mockery, and they beat him till he bleeds, and they nail him to the rugged cross, and they raise him, yes, they raise him next to me. My time has come, I'm slowly fading. I deserve what I receive. Jesus, when you are in your kingdom, could you please remember me? And he looks at me, still holding on, and the tears fall from his eyes. He says, I tell the truth, that today, yes, you will live with me in paradise. And I know that my time, yes, my time is coming soon. And I know that my time, yes, my time is coming soon. And I know paradise is coming soon.
The first thing I noticed about Jesus was his hands. I knew right away he was a carpenter like me. My father started taking me along with him to crucifixions when I was 13. He said it was the worst part of the job, and I would have to get used to it. He also said you could tell a lot from a person's hands. I remember when the tax collector would come around, my father would hold the coins out and wait for him to hold out his own hand. My father would look at his hands and just shake his head. I think my father would have respected Jesus. Did I tell you about his hands? My father taught me when you are crucifying a man, you have to respect him enough to not look at his face. You have to think of it as a job like any other. You're the one in town who has the wood. You have the nails. You have the experience. It's just a job. He said that you also had to be quick. There was to be no foolishness. You also had to put the spike in the right place, or else when you drove it in, you would hit the bone. If you broke the bone, the whole wrist would just tear through, and the man would bleed to death in a matter of minutes. That's not what they want. They want a slow, painful death. The moment I saw Jesus' hands, I did exactly what my father said I should never do. I looked at his face. He was a mess. He'd been beaten. He was bruised. They had shoved this crown made out of thorns over his head, and he had blood running down his face. Then I saw his eyes. I've never seen eyes like that before. At some point, he spoke. I heard him speak. You'd expect someone to scream or yell or curse when a nail is getting driven into them. But he spoke. Actually, it sounded more like a prayer. He said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." It sounded crazy. It made me think, do I know what I'm doing? Is he forgiving me? He was a carpenter. Just a carpenter. Just like me. Except I'm here, and he's not.
Pilate also had an inscription written and put on the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Many of the Jews read this inscription because the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Hebrew, in Latin, and in Greek. Then the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, "Do not write, 'the King of the Jews,' but this man said, 'I am the King of the Jews.'" Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 parts, one for each soldier. They also took his tunic. Now the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from the top. So they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it to see who will get it." This was to fulfill what the scripture says. They divided my clothes among themselves, and for my clothing they cast lots. And that is what the soldiers did.
I won. You know something? I never win. And this time, I won. And I've never been more miserable. We threw dice first up. We always throw dice for this stuff. I just never win. We're not supposed to, but the captain, he looks the other way. Sometimes he takes a cut. If the prisoner has a bag of gold or silver, the captain takes it, and we just play for the guy's stuff. Clothes mostly, sometimes jewelry. All this Jesus had was a cloak. That's it. What's strange is the odds were worse. They put 20 of us on duty for 3 guys being crucified. The official party line was that the Sanhedrin was afraid that some of Jesus' followers were going to try to rescue him. So they put 20 of us on duty. His followers, they all left. They just let him hang there. The woman never left. They're still there now, so there's 20 of us there. We all roll, and 2 rolls later, I'm standing there holding his cloak. I won. Now, I've been to a lot of crucifixions. I've seen people scream at the crowd and yell obscenities at me and the other guards. I've seen people beg for mercy. I've seen people ask their God to make it end. I've seen others just hang there and weep, but I've never seen anybody ask God to forgive the people who hung him there. And that's what Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." But you know, I think he was. No, I'm sure he was asking his God to forgive me too. Me and the others, mostly me, I guess. Me, the guy who won the rope. Me, he's hanging there, suffocating and bleeding to death. He wants God to forgive me. I tell you, I was so glad when the captain sent me home with the others. He's dead by now. I won.
Have you ever looked at the cross with a man hanging in pain, and the look of love in
Standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his home.
I remember what it was like to be that young. From the very beginning, from the day he was born, I loved him. I held him in my arms and everything in my heart, from the praise of the angels to my own questions and longings for what he would become. He and I belonged to each other, my son and I. But it wasn't long before I had to share him, to give him up. I must be about my Father's business, he said. And what was that? Jesus had to belong to the people, even to the tax collectors and sinners. They needed him. They needed his stories, his healing, and his preaching. He was everything to them, just like he was to me. Then the time came where even they had to give him up. His time was so short, too short. No mother should have to watch their son die. When Jesus was still a baby, Joseph and I took him to a temple. There, an old man named Simeon told me, "A sword will pierce your heart." I wondered then what he meant. I don't wonder now. This grief will stay in my heart like a piercing wound. But my son lived so much more than that when he died. He gave me a family. Everyone who loved him, everyone who feels this sort of grief with me, we are the ones that belong to each other now.
Have you ever stood in the family with the Lord there in your midst? Seen the face of Christ on your brother? Then I say, you've seen Jesus, my Lord. Have you seen
When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "Listen, he is calling for Elijah." And someone ran, filled a sponge with some wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come and take him down." Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last. And the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said, "Truly, this man was God's son." There were also women looking on from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of James the younger, and of Joses, and Salome. These used to follow him and provided for him when he was in Galilee. And there were many other women who had come up with him. When the light of the world goes out, who will be the light now?
I'm tired, I'm worn, my heart is heavy from the work it takes to keep on breathing. I've made mistakes, I've let my hope fail. My soul feels crushed by the weight of this world. And I know that you can give me rest. So I cry out with all that I have left. Let me see redemption win. Let me know the struggle ends. That you can mend a heart that's frail and torn. I wanna know a song can rise from the ashes of a broken life, and all that's dead inside can be reborn. 'Cause I'm worn. I know I need to lift my eyes up, but I'm too weak. Life just won't let up. And I know that you can give me rest. So I cry out with all that I have left. Let me see redemption win. Let me know the struggle ends. That you can mend a heart that's frail and torn. I wanna know a song can rise from the ashes of a broken life, and all that's dead inside can be reborn. 'Cause I'm worn, my prayers are wearing thin. Yeah, I'm worn even before the day begins. And I'm worn, I've lost my will to fight. And I am worn, so heaven come and flood my eyes. Let me see redemption win. Let me know the struggle ends. That you can mend a heart that's frail and torn. I wanna know a song can rise from the ashes of a broken life, and all that's dead inside can be reborn. Yes, all that's dead inside will be reborn. Though I am worn. I